today we're wanting to talk to you about the Premier1 poultry netting fence that we have. We've used this for 3 years now, so we want to give you a proper review on it, on our thoughts, recommendations, just so you are well knowledgeable in when you're looking for a fence. So we did write a list down of pros and cons to go over with you. So we'll say, do you want to start with the good or the bad first?
Let's just start with the pros.
Okay, so the pros. Number one is that there's no dogs, no stray dogs, no predators. We haven't experienced any sort of predators getting through our fence, digging through our fence, underneath our fence, anything of that nature. We've been really blessed on that. Do you have anything to add to the predator load?
Well, I mean, also we don't have to have guard dogs to protect our livestock with the, the fence is energized, so they're not necessary.
Yes, we haven't had any livestock guard dogs with our goats thanks to this fence. Next is, you want to talk about that one?
Next is the rotational grazing. What's nice about that is, like say you're making paddocks in your field, you can kind of just adjust them to your needs. So if you have a water source that you want to focus that around, you can use your netting to go around that, or even sometimes you avoid, going to water sources just in case,
right,
drowning or something like that nature.
Now we actually do, we rotational graze. Now we got this farm 3 years ago and it was neglected for a long time. So we've been trying to restore our fields. So we rotational graze the goats, and what's another great thing is we have rocks, we're a hillside, so we can really adjust to our needs of what we need to do as far as their paddocks go. We can adjust their size, we can make it bigger, we can make it smaller, depending on how long we would like for them to stay in an area to really graze it. Like if it's heavily weeded or really a lot of brush, we can let them stay there for a while and give them a huge paddocked area to take care of. So we really like that.
Yeah, and it kind of sometimes, forces them to eat stuff that they really don't typically eat. So you can kind of get that cleaned up a little better than, you really anticipated.
Right.
You don't leave them there till they're starving, of course, but yeah, you kind of let them manage that area and then you can move on to the next area.
Right, so so normally when they go into a place, they'll just want their number one picking, just like a child with candy before they eat the main course. They want the candy first. So then it also gets them to scavenge around, to browse around, to find more things to eat to really help with our fields. And one thing I just thought of, we use the poultry netting for our goats. We didn't get the goat sheep fence. we really liked the smaller, what do you call that, Justin?
I would just say the smaller
squares
at the bottom, yeah.
We really like the smaller squares to really kind of contain, to not allow them to really want to stick their face through the holes.
Especially the younger goats.
Yeah, especially the babies, which we do fence train the little babies also, this is really nice because you can also adjust the power that's coming to these fences, so it's not super powerful to knock down a cow or whatever, but you could do a little bit just so they get used to it.
Yeah.
If you want something on fence training, just leave a comment below and we'll do a video on that.
Yeah.
And then our next one.
Okay, the next one is solar powered. If you can see.
They might not be able to see.
Okay. Well, we'll show that in a few minutes.
I don't want to pick it up, it's attached.
Well, we have 3 solar units on our farm here. We have a larger one that's a 120, I think it's 1.2 joules or whatever.
I'm not sure, you know more than I do.
The other 2 are the smaller. They're the Shockwave 60s, and well, we'll use this bigger one on more fences. So say you got 5 or 6 fences, you want to make a paddock kind of big. We kind of do that in the winter time just so they have more area. That's what the larger solar charger was for. The smaller one, I think you can run 3 or 4 fences on that max, but they come in handy too. The 120 is significantly
stronger.
Stronger and also more pricier too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, well, more power equals more money, so that makes more sense.
But we'll go over more details on that here in a minute.
Yeah. And if you want something on the joules of the charge of the batteries, let us know. Justin could cover that because I don't know anything about that. And then the next one, well, this is kind of, we were talking about rotational grazing, but It's portable, so we are able to pick it up and move it wherever we want. We can actually put it up in the winter. It's really portable to wherever you want to take it. I know some people do goats where they go somewhere to actually have them like a land clearing.
Yeah.
So you can actually take this wherever you're going. If that's some sort of income that you're doing with your goats, you can definitely take this with you. And that's actually to my next point. It's not heavy. It's getting lighter and lighter for me, but it's not too heavy where one person couldn't hold the fence to move along. Now we do it, both of us. So I pick up and he holds, just so we could get it done faster, but one person could easily do it. And we could do tips and tricks on how to pull it up, how to, carry it and things like that if you're interested. But yeah, it's portable and it's not very heavy. Yeah. You want to talk to the...
Let's see. It keeps them in. I mean,
yeah,
the electric charge of the netting, it just generally keeps them in. They'll just bump their nose up to it, and once they realize it's charged, and they won't mess with it no more.
Right. Yeah, we haven't had, the only time we've had them get out, which we'll go into the cons of, but it keeps them in. We haven't had where they jump it, they run through it. It keeps them in. It's just plain and simple. And then another thing is just the company that we want to talk about. Premier1, we've had some things happen, which we'll cover in the cons, but Premier1 has been great customer service for us. Highly recommend their customer service with any issues that you may have with your equipment. You want to kind of get into the cons about when you talk to them about it?
Yeah,
Cool.
we had a couple solar battery charger failures. Well, actually, every one of them did. They didn't do it all at one time, but there is a chip inside them that controls, the functions of the shock that sends out the signal or whatever. But all those chips failed in each of our solar chargers, and the company was great. They just called them up, told them what was going on. I guess they were kind of aware of it, and they sent us out new chips as we needed.
Right. And it was like that day they shipped it out, because I got the notification to the email and that the replacement was on its way. I was just shocked.
Well, they send good directions too with replacing the chip. It's colored sheet. It tells you step by step what to do, and they want the other failed part back, so you have to box it up and send it back to them.
Yeah, but very prompt on replacement and really just kind of hearing the need and meeting the need to get you taken care of. So highly recommend them. So with the dead batteries, we talked about that. And then you want to talk about this part with the batteries, since we're kind of on that?
With the solar panels, we kind of noticed, you can't really see it today because it's kind of misting outside, but on the face of the solar panel on top of the battery
I might be
charger,
blocking it if they can see any.
Well, we experienced some fading. Like there's like a coating that's on there. It's kind of faded out the solar panel. Just made it like a real matte looking finish. I don't know if that's necessarily affecting the charging ability of it. I mean, it's hard to say, but generally we don't have to plug those into a 120 outlet. They maintain charge throughout the year.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, we've experienced, we had to charge up them a few times just because of the gloomy days outside, because the sun's not out. But
right, and it's nice too that we have the option. The batteries come with that plug-in, so it's real easy to plug them in, to charge them, to replace them. Or if you have multiple days of rain or cloudiness, which some of the cloud doesn't really affect it, but when it's like wintertime, like you said, it could be a problem. And then the next thing, the big thing that I have a problem with is strangulation. Something to be aware of. Not so much our chickens. The chickens have got, well, once they figured it out, they kind of just,
they got stuck a few times, but nothing serious.
Yeah, nothing serious. We didn't lose any of them. The goats, however, it's a different story. It happens. So something to be aware of. Even the ones, I think we lost one due to it just them fighting and then hit her into the net, and she couldn't get out. So that's something to be aware of if you're okay with, and just kind of made aware that it could happen. It can or cannot happen, but it's a possibility. So, that's still
Yeah, once their horns get stuck in the fence and they just kind of stress out and they'll just start rolling, and
yeah,
it's bad. So that's a big negative for us.
But the good thing is too that we haven't really had to really cut the fence to get them out as much. Like we had to cut like one strand, and so it wasn't like we had to cut a ton of the fence to get them out. It was easily to move to get them off, but the one just somehow, I don't know how she did it, we just had to cut that little strip. But they do send replacement parts to like repair things, so that's really nice too.
Yeah.
And then do you want to cover this one?
Oh, the poles bending. Yeah. Yeah, we experienced just some like poles at the end, at the bottom there. They got some metal. We'll kind of show you here in a few minutes. But sometimes they'll get stuck, and like say a goat or something gets tangled a little bit, they'll bend the pole over and it'll bend the metal at the bottom.
Yeah, the whole thing.
And it won't you can kind of straighten them out a little bit, but you can't never get them back to perfect. But
and then the fork. So what is nice is that each pole has a fork or spikes in the bottom of it, which is really nice. But sometimes when you go to put them in the ground, you'll hit a rock or something. And sometimes they get a little bent if you're doing it too forceful, trying to get it to go. They'll bend a little bit. So that's kind of a hold up, I guess. Or, but I mean, I guess to be thought of, like you're hitting a rock. So,
yeah.
Which we have a lot of rock here, but it's not too bad. Not all of our fences like that, but just you hit the random one and it bends. But you can bend them back. But again, like he said, you can't really get it as straight as it was.
Yeah.
And I think that's all our pros and cons for the fence. I asked Justin overall, would he recommend them to you guys to purchase it? And
I mean, historically, through what we've done with this fence and things, I would recommend the fence. You know, just with livestock in general, you're going to lose a few animals here and there.
Right, it's part of farm life.
It's part of the farm life. Yeah. I would love to have some, you know, perimeter fence around our place and just kind of still use the Premier1 just for that rotational grazing, you know, because they're just going to go through here and pick and choose all the best stuff.
Right.
And not really manage your land properly. So there is a benefit to having an electric fence.
Right, to have what we're planning on doing is the main perimeter around, which has been so nice to have these fences until we could do that, to get the whole perimeter of the farm fenced. But it's, you know, a lot of acreage for us, just him and I to do it, which we'll be bringing you a fencing video soon. But this has helped us greatly to have our goats to start helping with the land and things. So I highly recommend them also. You know, when your knowledge is power, so us giving you this video, hopefully it gives you knowledge and of the fence going into it, if it's a good purchase for you and your homestead, and to get you to ultimately where you want to be.
Yeah. And you know, we're not sponsored by Premier1 or anything in that nature.
Yeah, we're not sponsored.
Just want to give you a realistic review of the product.
Right, right. In 3 years, I think we've experienced a lot with it, and it's held up fantastic. No complaints on how it's held up. You know, rain, snow, things like that. We've used it in the snow and things, and nothing. It's not. I'm very pleased with it. Yeah. So I think the strangulation is the biggest thing, but that's the good definitely outweighs the bad.
Yeah, I mean, we could have that with, you know, regular, you know, sheep and goat fence. So.
Right, right.
Let's give everybody a little closer view of what the product is, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the Premier1 IntelliShock 120. This is our largest charger we have here on the farm. This is the power button. So it has a battery indicator on here too. So if it's solid green, if it's flashing green, everything's good, it's fully charged. Like I said, in the wintertime, it'll, you know, with the gloomy days and things, it won't get as much charge. So I'll turn this one on right now, and it's flashing red. So it's still sending out charge. It just has not gathered enough solar power today to charge up the battery. We'll monitor that. If it continues to stay red here the next couple days, we'll just go ahead and put it on the wall charger, which is right here, and we'll just charge it fully up, and it should be good for a few days. Like I said before, Premier1 has great customer service. show you inside here. So the 120 series comes with 2 batteries, and the board that fails is internally in here, so this cover just comes off and they'll send you instructions how to change that if it ever fails, which they might have the problem resolved by now, you know. The 120 series, it'll come with a grounding rod that you just put in the ground, and then the 60 series, it has a spike that attaches to the bottom and you just push it into the ground to get for that one. This is the solar panel we're talking about. You can't really tell on this one a whole lot, but it feels like there's a film over top of it. I don't know if it's really affecting the charging ability of it or not, but overall it's been great.
We could call and ask if they have a recommendation for that.
Yeah, we could do that. Call and see if there's a recommendation to replace this, or if there's a special coating or something we could put on it. So we always face this towards the south. Gets the most sun. Go ahead and disconnect this. So your fences come in 100 foot, and this is how you connect them. I got up to multiple strands of electric that run horizontal, and they all connect together. But what I wanted to show you is the bottom here. So this is the fork that goes in the ground, and here comes Elvis. Anyway, we highly recommend getting the double fork. I know some of the fences only come with one, but the double fork is a lot more sturdy, I would say.
And it's easier to put in the place.
Yeah, it's easier to put in the ground. So just push that back down in there. And another thing to pay attention to is the bottom electric. We've had them actually push down and get down onto the metal, which that grounds your fence out, and it'll kill the shock. Premier1 actually sends a electrical tester to check your fence, but I've always checked it by hand. Probably shouldn't do that, but I have. You'll know real quick if it's working. Go ahead and connect this back. So on the side of the charger here, it's got the red for positive and the black for ground. Just put the red back onto the fence, and the ground goes to ground. Go ahead and turn it back on.
We hope this video was informative to you and again to give you knowledge on whether or not the Premier1 poultry netting is best for your homestead. If you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel.
God bless you, and thank you for watching.
Have a good one.
See you on the next video.